today I've compiled a tier list. Before we get started though, honestly, like Genshin Impact is not a hard game, so play whoever you want. If you're a waifu husbando player, be the waifu husbando player. If you like a character, play them, enjoy them, love them. Second thing, some of your absolutely not worth it characters could be my absolutely must worth it characters. And some of my absolutely not worth it character could be your absolutely worth it characters. So, and that's all cool. If you have a different opinion than I do, leave a compelling argument in the comment section down below. I would love to know. And hey, you might change my mind. Cyno. Cyno, man. Okay, Cyno, I did pull for Cyno. And I did pull for the staff thingy. And I'm gonna be really honest with you guys. Cyno is one of the characters that I really regret pulling. I will put him... Oh, this is such a terrible start of the video. Let me explain. He's got the looks, you know? Like, he really charmed me with the looks and the design and everything. I loved his design. I think his design was amazing, man. Like, and I was so excited for Cyno because Cyno was like in one of the very first Genshin Impact trailers, and when everybody was like speculating and everything, I was so excited for him, man. First of all, the Scarab thing, collecting Scarab for his ascension is just very painful. Second of all, the few times that I did play Cyno, really awkward to play. I think the whole timing your E thing is really cool. His burst duration is just too long, man. Just too long. I wish it was shorter. And then on top of that, you have to play him with Nahida. Like, regardless, I feel like he really needs to play with Nahida. Because Nahida's like the only Dendro character with a long enough Dendro application for him to, you know, do his thing. But at the same time, it's like, if I play him with Nahida, I could play Nahida with anybody else, you know what I'm saying? Oh, another thing. He's not the easiest character to build, in my opinion. You gotta build his EM, you gotta build his crit ratio, you gotta build some attack into him. Like, he's got a lot of stats that he needs to be built into, and trying to find these perfect artifacts, it's very hard. I'm quite harsh with the characters, but at the same time, I just want to be honest with you guys, and if it takes a lot of effort for me to like make a character work, I just don't want to play the character, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like Cyno is one of the characters that takes a lot of effort for me to like make it work. Diluc. I think Diluc is like okay worth, or maybe meh, in my opinion. I feel like early game Diluc was much better because we didn't really have a better option. And also, like, I have to evaluate these characters based on how much value they bring to my account, right? And I value supports higher than main DPS characters. I feel like main support just covers more bases, in my opinion. I think actually, you know what? I think like Diluc is okay worth it. I think he's very easy to play. I think that's one of the biggest advantage of Diluc. Is he the most efficient character? No. But he's easy to play. Some of his best teammates is like, what, Xingqiu, Bennett. You could play him with 4-star characters, and I think he does very great. His playstyle kind of work against him, in my opinion, because his ult pushes the enemy so far away, and it's such a pain to chase after them. So if you're playing Diluc in the overworld, I think that's great. But like playing Diluc in Spiral Abyss is like low-key a struggle, you know? I think he's okay. Like if you got him by losing a 50-50, it's not the end of the world. Like I still think he's a great character. And he's hot, so... Albedo. I actually really like playing Albedo. One of his best weapon is a 3-star weapon, Harbinger of Dawn. Relatively easy to build because he's a defense scaling character. He is a very easy character to play, so I think that's gonna like up at rank. I think I'm gonna put him like higher than Diluc, but still in the okay worth it category, because in terms of team synergy, right? Like you could really chuck Albedo into any team, but because he's a Geo character, he doesn't particularly synergize well with any character. His best team composition, in my opinion, is Hutao, Xingqiu, Double Geo. And so when your best team is like 3 5-star characters, that does get a little bit expensive, in my opinion. So there are pros and cons to Albedo. Keqing, oh man, Keqing went through like character development for sure. Keqing wasn't really like a great DPS in the early game of Genshin Impact, but like the release of Dendro really just, you know, give Keqing some life. I think Keqing is pretty worth it considering that she's a standard banner character, so if you end up losing your 50-50, I do think she is better than Diluc. I really love her playstyle, honestly. Synergized very well with Dendro. Even if you don't have Nahida, you just play her with Dendro Traveler. I think she's great with Dendro Traveler. And I just think that like Keqing, in terms of value-wise, she's relatively easy to play, puts out really good damage with aggravate. One of her best weapon is, what is it called? Lion's Roar? Am I getting the name right? I don't remember if I'm getting the name right, but you could deal some like insane damage with Keqing, and also Keqing's got an awesome looking burst. So I think like, listen, if you lost your 50-50 to Keqing, I wouldn't be salty about it. Okay, next character. Dehya. Man. Oof. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't pull for Dehya because I don't think she's worth it. Is she a tank? Is she supposed to be like a tank character? Because she does give like stagger resistance, which that's fine. The stagger resistance doesn't last all the way through her E. So I'm kind of confused about that. And second of all, I can't tell if Dehya's burst is like a glitch situation, because if you jump during her burst, she just dies. And then also her multiplier is not the best. Maybe in the future, like Mihoyo will come out with another character, or like the state of the game changes and Dehya got like so incredibly good. That can 100% happen. It's just, I would never recommend someone pulling a character for their future value. Klee, I would say Klee is meh worth it. I did not pull for Klee, but I do think that Klee has a lot of wasted potential in my opinion, because I think if Klee's burst doesn't cancel when she gets swapped out, I think that Klee would have been an amazing sub DPS. I just think that like her playstyle is a little clunky, and if I were to recommend a pyro DPS, I wouldn't necessarily recommend Klee. Mona, I love playing Mona, man. I think Mona is like pretty worth it. I think Mona is probably the best 50-50 to lose to. She's a very flexible character to play. Like, you could play her as an amp. You could play her main DPS Vape Bubble. She doesn't have amazing team synergy with a lot of the characters, but I do think that Morgana is one of the best teams out there. Granted, a little expensive to play because it's like Venti, Ganyu, you know? But I think like Mona is a very flexible character and she covers a lot of bases. Her best weapon is Witzith, which is a 4-star weapon. So you got that. And then she's also relatively easy to build in my opinion. Slap her like 4 emblem. If you play Mona as a support and not as a sub DPS, I think you could even give her Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers. I think that's a great weapon on her. Ayato. See, the thing is, I think Ayato is more worth it than Mona. While Ayato is truly, like, for the most part, a main DPS, he does work as a sub DPS, so he's got a little flexibility. On top of that, he is a Hydro unit. I think Ayato's biggest strength is that he's very consistent. If you give him 4-piece Heart of Depth, he is a very, very consistent DPS, very easy to play. So for beginners, I think Ayato is a great DPS to invest into. Yoimiya. I didn't pull for Yoimiya. And I didn't pull for Yoimiya not because I don't want her. And every time Yoimiya banners come back around, I just don't have the extra Primo Gems to spend. But if I have to rank Yoimiya, I think Yoimiya is, you know, pretty worth it. Like, if you play Yoimiya double Hydro with Zhongli, she's a great unit. She's also a very fun character to play. I like her playstyle. I like the fact that she's just, you know, fast basic attacks, and one of her best weapon is Rust, which is a 4-star weapon. And on top of that, her artifact farming situation, I believe her BIS slot is Shimenawa, which when you farm for emblem, you're gonna get Shimenawa anyway. So in terms of artifact, she's also efficient. So I think like if you're looking for a DPS to play, I think Yoimiya is really, really solid. Okay, we get to our first absolutely worth it. You know Raiden is absolutely worth it. Raiden Shogun is like one of the most busted characters. I mean, like, there is a whole conversation about Raiden's only really good at C2 and you have to get the engulfing lightning. I don't think that's true, because I think like Raiden, in terms of value wise, she brings a lot to the table. You can play her in support positions. You can put triple EM on her and just play her Hyper Bloom. I think she's still really, really great. One of her best weapon is a free to play weapon, which is the catch. For people who have like R5 the catch, I don't have that dedication. Oh, another thing. One of her best team is Raiden Nationals. Raiden really is a good bang for your buck. Okay, Hutao. I'm gonna say Hutao is, to me, okay, Hutao is more worth it than Wow, this is actually really hard because I think Yoimiya has an easier play style than Hutao, but Hutao deal more damage. You pick Hutao and Yoimiya, in my opinion, is really up to, first of all, how much money you want to spend, and second of all, their play style. With Hutao, C1 may or may not be necessary. So when it comes to like Hutao, she's really a player preference type of thing. You may or may not need her C1. You definitely need her Staff of Homa because the Staff of Homa would do a lot for her. Jean. How do I feel about Jean? Honestly, I think Jean is just okay. I think she's better than Diluc for sure. I would probably rank her higher than Albedo. I will say though, I do like the fact that like Jean covers a good amount of bases. Like she's a healer. She deals decent damage. She has a little bit of crowd control. She can swirl. She can give iridescent. So she does cover a lot of bases, but she doesn't particularly excel at any of them. Itto. Oh, I really like Itto. But I have to be objective about this, and I think Itto is okay. I think Itto is better than Albedo in terms of worth, but lower than Jean. And here's my reasoning. He's a very expensive character to play, in my opinion. So in terms of like building him, he is not too hard of a character to build. You can use the White Blind on him, which is a free-to-play craftable weapon. The reason why I think Itto is a little expensive to play is that his best team synergy is played with Mono Geo or Triple Geo plus Bennett. And Mono Geo teams, you know, if you play Mono Geo, there's only one team you can play with, and there's no flexibility in the team. Because he's a Geo unit, he's got good multipliers, so he does deal really great damage. I think Itto is so fun to play with. I love Ushi. I think just like in terms of aesthetic wise, like I just love the way he looks, man. Even his skinny arms. Xiao. I think Xiao is probably around the same as Itto. His best teammates is a C6 Farzan. Tighnari, I think Tighnari is above Jean. I think Tighnari is still an okay worth character. Like, he doesn't really invoke an emotion within me. He's just fine. In my mind, Dendro is more of a support element. The thing is that he's a main DPS character with a supportive element. To be fair, like, I think that every element needs a main DPS character, you know, just for player variety. And on top of that, he's like a bow character, and I don't love playing bow characters. That's why for me, he's an okay worth character. Like, if I lost my 50-50, I'm not gonna be mad about it. Well, okay, in that case, do I think he's better than Jean? Oh, I think he's not better than Jean. Wow, this is actually so hard now that I think about it. Zhongli. Zhongli is absolutely worth it. I think he's account changing. You'll never have to dodge again. He's so easy to build too. Like, give him triple HP tenacity and black tassel. You don't have to dodge for life. And on top of that, Zhongli does give a shred. So I think like in terms of value, like Zhongli is just really, really good. I mean, I didn't pull for Zhongli because I rolled for someone else. You will see who it is later. Ganyu. That's hard. Okay, I think Ganyu is above Keqing, but below Mona. Ooh, actually, is she above Mona or is she below Mona? Probably above Mona. I mean, personally, I don't really love Ganyu's playstyle because I don't like playing bow characters, but she is very flexible in my opinion. Like, you could play her main DPS, point and shoot style, or you could play her as a sub DPS or a burst support. So I think in terms of that, she's really great as well. You could play her in freeze, you could play her in melt. She's got a great craftable free-to-play option. I mean, I think like if you like her playstyle and you're looking for a really solid DPS character, Ganyu is a really great pull. Eula, man, I'm gonna be honest, this might change when the new physical support comes out. I believe when Mika comes out. But as of right now, physical DPS doesn't really have a place in the meta. Kokomi. Kokomi is absolutely worth it for me. I skipped Zhongli for Kokomi. Kokomi went through peak character development. First of all, she is very easy to build. If you have Kokomi, she is a comfort pick. She deals a little bit of damage, not that great. I think she's more worth it than Zhongli, considering the fact, oh man, this feels so blasphemous right now. Unlike Zhongli, she has access to elemental reactions. She's great in permafreeze. If you like playing her in freeze, you can play her in bloom, you can play her in super bloom, you can play her in hyper bloom. Like, because she's a hydro unit, she covers a lot of like reactions. Beautiful, aesthetically pleasing. I picked Kokomi over Zhongli in patch 3.0, so you know, that's saying something. Venti is my first 5-star character, and I think he's pretty worth it. He's niche, that's the thing. He's really good, but he's very niche. Honestly, if you could find a use case for it and the situation calls for it, I think Venti's low-key overpowered, but when it comes to enemies that are not small, like big enemies, he's kind of useless, so kind of just depends on the situation. He's pretty worth it, but he's not applicable in every use cases. Yelan! I do think that she is worth the Primal Gem if you decide to pull for her. She is a very flexible character. You could play her main DPS if you want. You could play her sub DPS. I think she is the best at sub DPS. Pretty easy to build. If you play her like sub DPS, then just slap energy recharge on her. And then on top of that, one of her best weapon is Favonius. If you have Shincho, do you have to pull for Yelan? No. Are you going to be very happy with having a Yelan in your account? Yes. Shenhe. I'm gonna put her like somewhere here in the okay worth it category. I think Shenhe's a really good unit, but she's niche. There's only one use case for her, and is if you play her with like a cryo team, she's bonkers. If you have a cryo team with Shenhe, then yeah, go for her. But if you don't, and like Shenhe is your first cryo unit, I would not recommend pulling for Shenhe. Wanderer. I think Wanderer is pretty worth it. And I think maybe I'll put him above Hutao. Oh, well, no. I'm gonna put him in between Yoimiya and Hutao. I think he's like pretty worth it, mainly because he could fly. I think in terms of exploration-wise, Wanderer is truly game-changing. In terms of investment, I do think that Wanderer is a pretty high investment character, given the fact that like he has team synergy, but he doesn't have particularly strong team synergy, so there's that. And the particularly strong team synergy is like C6 Farzan, so there's also that. You know, if you like his playstyle, you like the way he looks, pull for him. If you don't, then it's not really a big deal. Nilou, man, I love Nilou. I love playing Nilou, but she's kind of, if I have to pick, she's like right here. The super bloom thing is just very satisfying. It's very fun to play, and she's also easy to build. That's the thing about Nilou. She's so easy to build. If you have all the other characters, Nilou is worth it. But if Nilou is the first character that you're pulling, then like no, low-key not worth it. So it kind of just depends on the state of your account is what I would recommend. Okay, but then there's the thing though, but like Nilou does have a very free-to-play variation. Yeah, Barbara, Dental Traveler, Nilou, and I don't know, Klee. So like that is a free-to-play variant. Okay, maybe here because of her free-to-play team. Ayaka. Man, I really think Ayaka is a must pull. I think like in terms of main DPS, like she is like the strongest main DPS. In terms of stat wise, I think out of all the main DPS out there, Ayaka is the easiest to build. Put her on 4-piece Blizzard Strayer and you play her in like a full freeze team. Then you don't have to build a lot of crit rate on her because of all the free crit rate you're gonna get. So you could really just build a lot into crit damage. You could get away with 40% crit rate and then like max crit damage. I think she could really carry you really far. But then the other thing is like, you can only really play Ayaka one way. Qiqi. Okay, I'm not gonna say Qiqi is not worth it. I'm just gonna say Qiqi is very meh. Okay, I'm gonna rank Qiqi higher than Klee because Qiqi is a standard banner character and Qiqi is a 50-50 character. She is a good healer. She does do what she is designed to do. It's just the game doesn't value healers. If you're gonna be a healer, you kinda need to do something else other than healing, like Kokomi. And then on top of that, Qiqi got long cooldown and make no particles, so I would totally understand why people would get mad when they lost their 50-50 Qiqi. Kazuha might be like here, like absolutely worth it character for me. Maybe Kazuha is like even higher than Raiden just because of his like grouping abilities, his buff, like he gives an insane buff, he gives grouping ability, he's such a good exploration character. If you could think of the perfect anemo element character, it's Kazuha. My voice is like giving out if like I'm starting to sound a little screechy. That is why. Yae Miko. She got the Dendro buff, so that's great. Okay, maybe she's like... Maybe she's like here. She's pretty worth it if you want a sub DPS for Hyper Bloom. I mean, listen, if you got Cookie Shinobu, I don't really think you need Yae Miko. It's just like, you know, her playstyle is a very easy to playstyle. You drop her totems and like you swap out. I skip Yae Miko because of Cookie Shinobu. It's like, why do I need Yae Miko if I have Cookie? You know what I'm saying? So she's only pretty worth it if you don't have Cookie. If you want to play Hyper Bloom, like that's great. But she's definitely less niche than Venti. Alhaitham. I think Alhaitham is like somewhere near Keqing. I think Alhaitham is a really solid main DPS. I think Alhaitham is a really well-designed character, like through and through for that. Maybe he's even higher than Mona. Yeah, he's probably higher than Mona. He's not a bow character. See, the difference between him and Tighnari is that Tighnari is okay worth it because he is a bow character and I just don't like bow characters for the most part. Nahida is like... up here. If you gotta pull for one character besides Kazuha, it's Nahida. You could play her main DPS if you want. You could play her support if you want. You could play her sub DPS if you want. She just gives so much value. Easy character to play. Her E is like insane. She gives you so much access to like how you could play with other characters. Do not ask any questions. If you don't have a Nahida, get a Nahida on your account. Absolutely worth the Primo Gems. Childe. I would rank Childe higher than Tighnari. Like, he's fine. I think Childe is a really, really good character, do not get me wrong. He's busted with Xiangling, so there's that. He deals really good damage. Certain situations, he's definitely better when it comes to mob killing than like boss killing. There is a niche aspect to him. Voila. This is my tier list of characters, I think, from most worth it to absolutely not worth it. And if you enjoyed today's episode, I would love to hear what you guys think. Leave it in the comment section below. Anyways, I hope everybody enjoyed watching today's episode. Peace.